Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shaki, and today I'm going to be telling you my experiences with eating disorders and body image for National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. I just want to say 2 disclaimers before I go properly into this video. Obviously you've seen the title, and I just want to say that that isn't my full belief, that isn't what I believe. I just wanted a really grabbing title, and B, I really wanted to challenge this idea because it's really harmful and almost cost me my life. No matter what your size is, no matter who you are, no matter what your gender is, your sex is, where you come from, you deserve help. And just because you're not stereotypically anorexic doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't experiencing an eating disorder, because you definitely are. Also, the disclaimer apart from the title is the fact that I will be talking about a lot of triggering subjects to do with eating disorders and food, so if any of that triggers you, I will put the exact trigger and maybe a timestamp in the description box below so you can be wary of this video and what kind of themes I'm going to be talking about. I am definitely talking about bulimia, anorexia, starvation, body image, bullying. So if any of those things are particularly triggering to you, maybe skip out on this one, but I will leave the timestamps and the direct trigger in the description box below. I did say that this was going to be like a non-structured, stripped down, bare video, and it kind of is, but I decided to do a little page of notes just so I had something to go off. And when I was kind of loosely planning it and just kind of putting down some things I really wanted to talk about in this video, I really struggled to plan it and I didn't really know where to start. So I guess the way to start would be at the beginning, which is so fucking stereotypical of these kinds of videos. I guess we'll start at the beginning. Well, no shit. So if you didn't know, me and my family, when I was about 7 years old, we moved from Devon in the south of England. We moved to the East Midlands, to Nottingham. And I actually mentioned this in my mental health journey, I think I did. I'll leave that below as well. So if you want to know more about my journey. But basically we moved from there, and I think that's where most of my mental health problems spurred from, because of the events that happened after we moved. We didn't really have that much going for us for like the first year we were here. We were mostly eating out. We were almost homeless a few times. We were like living in houses that had these little flying ant things in it. It was disgusting. And then we found the house we're living in now, and we've been living in here ever since. I still remember to this day how excited my mum and my stepdad were at the time to move in here. But unfortunately this is where it all went wrong for me. So we were like moving schools, moving houses all the time, and I remember just being so lost, so disassociated from everything, and I just remember being like, is this what life is? And then we thankfully found this house, and that's why I could never leave, I don't think, because it's like our safe haven. I love this house a lot, even though it is haunted. So when we eventually did move into this house, we tried to go to one of the local primary schools, but it was full. We tried a little bit of a further away school, but it was still in walking distance. It's still like a 10-minute walk, probably at most. I think it was just before they broke up for summer, so they weren't really taking anyone in, but they took me in anyway because I'd been out of school for like a year. So not only was I the new kid, I was the fat new kid who was from a really posh area down south, who hadn't lost their accent yet because I'd just kind of gone everywhere. I was this chatter fat kid from Devon, and everyone hated me, and you know what, I can see why they would. Like, everyone literally hated me, apart from a few people. If you're watching this, I don't know if you are, but Taylor and Sarah, they were like really nice to me when I first went there. Me and Taylor would always sing fish hooks. That is beside the point. This is not relevant. This is why I need notes. I started to be bullied in year 4, which is when I properly started. I came into the primary school at the end of year 3. So I started the full term like everyone else in year 4. I was like not small. I wasn't small at all. My mum has a thing, like she even does it now, and I have to be like, Mum, I'm not sad, you don't have to feed me. So my mum used to have this thing. I used to come home and be really upset that people were bullying me for my weight, and the thing that she thought she should do as a mother was feed me more, which probably wasn't a good idea. I was bullied from year 4 to year 9. If you're not like familiar with the school system in the UK, year 4 is basically you're like 9 years old, and then year 9 you are like 13, 14. I have the weirdest memories because I used to get PTSD quite a lot. I used to get a lot of PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, and I couldn't go in certain classrooms and I couldn't walk certain hallways after it ended, because I just remember what they would say to me, particularly in maths. And I've always had a problem with math. I have a C in it now. flex. But I always had a problem with maths because a lot of the people who bullied me were in the same maths set as me. I hated maths so much because of this, and that even maybe a little bit of like a conditioning thing going on in my brain. Doing psychology has really helped me, by the way, just saying. People would be mean to me and I'd be in maths and it would happen quite often, so I thought, okay, I'm learning through reinforcement and conditioning. Maths is bad. I passed maths the minute that I left school. I passed it as soon as I left school. I think it's no coincidence that I hated maths because people would bully me for my weight in these certain lessons. I think I've mentioned this in a video before, but a long time ago, so I don't think anyone new coming in would know this, but I have a very vivid memory of me fancying a boy, as you do in school. And I was chunky. I was moto chunky. Call him Flack. Is that obvious? So yeah, this guy, I asked him if he wanted to like be together, and he turned around to me, looked me in the face and said, "I'm sorry, you're not my size." This is the defining moment, I think. Not because I wanted to like feel like, oh my god, boys don't like me because I'm fat. Like, that wasn't the issue. I didn't like me because other people didn't like me because I was fat. Another thing of this is the fact that I had so much respect for teachers when I was little. I was the teacher's pet, like I don't even care. I wanted good grades, I wanted good everything. I wanted to be the pupil, I wanted like the superstars, I wanted to be the person that they'd be like, okay, this is how you should do your work. Well done, Shakira. I was really good, and I think I overcompensated the fact that how bullied I was for my education. In primary school, the one that we went to after we came back from Devon and stuff like that, they sent my mum a letter basically telling her that I was overweight. I was an overweight child. I hadn't finished growing yet, and they had the audacity to slap that label on me. It was almost as like my teachers couldn't protect me anymore and that they were just gonna bully me like the other kids did. When you have insecurities and you're bullied, you kind of cling to people who can protect you, like teachers, police officers, parents, just for comfort. And I did, and then to have that revoked, I felt really alone. In my head, I was like, I can get rid of this easily. I can just not eat, or I could just exercise till I feel like I'm gonna pass out. This can be fixed. I can fix this. Oh god. Next! Another thing that I don't think I'll ever forget, and the fact that I also got a boyfriend at this time, and I was one of my best friends, and we aren't on speaking terms right now because we've grown out of each other, we've grown apart, and we just have so different lives now, and that's fine. I've got no hard feelings against him whatsoever. I lost my virginity with him. I did all of my first things with him. He really helped me in terms of my mental health and my weight, and always telling me that I was worth it and beautiful no matter how much I weighed or how much I didn't weigh. And although it wasn't the healthiest of relationships, it was still a relationship that I really enjoyed and I don't regret it at all. He really helped me not get bullied anymore, which actually was a catalyst to me fucking up everything. I think I started my period when I was 13. God, this is all fucking too much information, huh? I started my period when I was like 14, and obviously, I don't know if any of you will understand this if you don't have a period, but basically, you lose a lot of body weight when you start your period because obviously you're bleeding and your body needs to take care of itself. Towards the middle of year 9, I would say, I lost a lot of weight because of this. I started my period, we were like doing PE really regularly, and I just felt like I was a goddess. And going back to the point of me like really looking up to teachers and like really, that's kind of like a common theme in this story, is the fact that I looked up to teachers the entire time and it affected me a lot. And one of the things I distinctly remember, apart from the letter being sent home about a teacher commenting, is when I was in the height of my eating disorder, which I'll tell you about in a minute, after puberty and I wanted more, she turned around to me and said, "Shakira, can I just say that you look so beautiful?" And I was like, I know. I'm throwing up everything. And it feels great. Doesn't feel great. I don't feel beautiful. Okay. Cool. No doubt. Cool. So after puberty started and everyone was kind of getting their fix, you know, and hormones were everywhere. We were all fighting. We were all just fucking kissing each other's boyfriends. It was a lot. But yeah, I was on this like puberty high, I think you could call it, where I just really wanted to lose weight. and puberty was the perfect way to do it. And I feel like when I stopped losing weight because of puberty and a mixture of things, I was going to PE, I was really putting my heart and soul in PE because it was fun, I really enjoyed it, and everyone else really enjoyed it too. We play badminton, we play rounders, we go on the machines, we do on the trampoline. It was amazing. Trampolining comes up later, have that in mind. I was just obsessed with losing weight at this point. I'd always been obsessed with losing weight in an unhealthy way. I'd see models that are really small, smaller than me, and think, wow, I could never have an eating disorder because I'm just a fat girl, you know. I could never have an eating disorder. Fat girls don't have eating disorders. Eating disorders are very slim, and you know, you can see all their ribs and stuff, and it's just not like that. Eating disorders are all in the brain. I've had an eating disorder since I was, I'd say, 11 years old, but it's only physically manifested in certain ways. And I think it's so dangerous how we're implementing this look of someone who has an eating disorder as someone who is really slender and just looks unhealthy, but you are sick enough, you are so sick enough to get help no matter what body type you are. This almost cost me my life. I haven't got an eating disorder. I'm just fat, you know, but I'm never going to be slender. So if I was literally hurting, harming, killing myself to be thin, I was never going to achieve that, but I was still going to feel the consequences of an eating disorder. And I still wouldn't have found it because I wasn't like them. I wasn't anorexic because I didn't look anorexic, which means I wasn't, but that wasn't the truth. Speaking of this, when puberty ended and so did the bullying, and I was at a really good time in my mental health, I thought so anyway, I just wanted more. I just really wanted more. And when I was actually losing weight, I couldn't see it. And I started to develop something called body dysmorphia, where you basically, you see your body in a way that it isn't. I tend to see extra weight. My body is so much bigger than it is. And sometimes I look in the mirror and I think, fuck's sake, look at me. And I'll fit into jeans that I haven't worn in years because I have been too big to fit in them. And sometimes pictures I'll see the real me, but I have a very distorted view of myself, and this is something that I still struggle with. I only really got diagnosed with it when I went to college and saw a whole bunch of different psychiatrists at my college. A lot of them diagnosed me with body dysmorphia, and I kind of took that as a theme that had been running throughout my life since I stopped being bullied. I really wanted more after puberty hit me, and I started to see things that weren't really there. Because I had the whole fat girls can't get eating disorders mentality, I just thought that I was fine, I was distorted, and it made my vision of myself really unrealistic. I then started to trigger something that I have called irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Some of my trigger foods, because I was stressed, and also because I had a really bad bowel problem when I was in year 10, and I would trigger my IBS on purpose. So I would eat pasta, excessive binge amounts of pasta. It was fine, a serving was fine, but then I'd go back and I'd eat a ton of it, and then I'd just, to be frank, shit it all out. I think I've damaged my bowel now by doing that and by forcing it out like that. It's a type of bulimia that I didn't know existed. Something I also did, which still bothers me today, I would go on the trampoline before and after I'd eaten, and I'd just go on it for hours and hours and hours. Literally just before I'd go on, I'd eat, and then I'd go on the trampoline and I would just go on it bounce for ages. And I felt like it was okay to come off. Just remember being so dizzy and so sick all the time when I came off. I sometimes would fall over onto the floor, and I just feel like I was just so dizzy, and I would see 2 of things. I just thought I was exercising, and I was just taking it too far, and I still can't really exercise now because I just take things too far. Even though the bullying had stopped and no one was really commenting on my weight anymore, it had just done so much damage in my brain that I was my own bully now, and I still am. The things that they said to me and did have been imprinted in my brain so much that the fact that my brain is now doing and replicating what they did. But everyone thought, hey, she's doing fine, she's losing weight, she's on this new diet. And I didn't really say what my diet was, just said I was on a diet and it was working. And that's, I think, why I believed that fat girls like me can't have eating disorders. It's because I thought I was just on a diet. I've been dieting since I was 10 10. In year 11 I carried on, we sat our exams, we left for school, and this is kind of when everything went downhill because I stopped going on the trampoline because it broke. The springs are really rusty, and because I was going on it so often, not because I was fat, because I wasn't at this point. I thought I was at that time, but in hindsight I definitely wasn't, and I needed help seriously really bad. I would do it in the snow, I would do it in the rain, I would do it in the sunshine, I would do it in the blazing hot with no water. I was wanting to lose weight so badly. The springs were so rusty because I was going on it and we had no cover, like, you know, the cover around the trampoline. We didn't have one of those, so the bare springs were being exposed to snow, to water, to rain, to sweat, to blazing sun, so it got really rusty, and every time you went onto the trampoline one of them would ping off. It was putting like pressure on the strings, so every now and again one would fly off. I found it really funny. At the time I would like bounce and like loads of them would like ping off, but this was the start of me losing the trampoline. We don't have it anymore. I genuinely think that if we still had that trampoline I would still be doing it now. It was only when we got rid of the trampoline because it was so broken. I think my mum kind of got rid of it a bit early because she was like, oh, it's broken now, let's just throw it out, Shakira, you need help. Eventually I stopped with the IBS because it was getting harder and harder to trigger it because I wasn't stressed anymore, and so my bowel was just, it was damaged, but it was really hard to trigger my IBS. Even with de-triggering food, I stopped everything. Not even in a way of like, I need help, I need to stop, just because it just stopped. And I'm so grateful that the universe took them away from me and made me realise how unhealthy it was before it was too late. If we still had that trampoline today, I don't know where I'd be. I don't know if I'd still be here. Obviously we had prom, and I went prom shopping, and it was a really good experience. I really enjoyed it. I just gained loads of weight again, and I think it was just over like the few months that I was gaining more and more weight. In hindsight it really wasn't that much, and by the time I was like steadily getting more and more plump, and by prom I was a healthy size 12, just on the cusp of 14, so I'd only really gone up one dress size. I immediately was like, fuck, I need to go back to all of these things that I had in the past. Obviously I didn't have my IBS anymore. I do have IBS still, but I don't trigger it on purpose anymore. I didn't have the trampoline. I tried exercising, but I was pushing it too far again, and I was just in this loop of eating too much but not doing enough. When I left school and started college, I felt the biggest that I had ever felt. I'm not saying I was the biggest I ever was, because A, I don't really know, and B, I can't really say how big I was compared to how big I felt. So I know how I felt, and I felt the biggest I had felt for a very long time. It was very hard not to relapse, and it was very hard not to just go home after a big binge and just let it all out. It was really hard not to do that, because I discovered that you didn't have to just do bulimia that way, you could do it this way as well. And I'd also try starving myself, and that's kind of where I am right now. I'm about to graduate college and go into university, so that's a positive, but I can't help but feel like every stage in my education something has gone wrong with my weight, whether that's me ballooning and being bullied for it, or me having an eating disorder and losing loads of weight. So I can't help but be anxious for what that's going to bring. My mum kept telling me that I had an eating disorder, but I just kept thinking to myself, no, I don't. Fat girls like me can't get eating disorders, when that is absolutely false. It is not true. And that is the danger, like I said earlier, of people saying that, portraying that you can only have an eating disorder when you look a particular way. But that isn't true at all. It isn't true at all. Some of the things that happen inside of your brain, they contribute to you having an eating disorder, and it's not fun, and you shouldn't be discriminated against it. You shouldn't be withheld help or validation because you're bigger. That's not how things work. That's really all I really have to say on this. I have a feeling that I've missed quite a lot, but that is the gist. I only really planned it this morning, and this was a really hard video for me to film. This is my story. I'm putting it out there on the internet. This is mine. A lot of people already know this story because I've said it in multiple videos before, but I thought I would have it all in one video. This is my story. If you're comfortable enough, share yours as well. Share yours to the Buddy Project, share yours in a safe space. You can share it in the comment section. You can DM me if you're you feel more comfortable. Share your story, because a problem shared is a problem halved, and I can promise you that making these kinds of videos, making these kind of comments, blog posts, pictures, really helps you, and it helps a lot of other people as well. If you're struggling with something that I struggled with as well, if you're struggling with an eating disorder, or if you think anyone that you love or know has an eating disorder, there will be resources in the description box below where you can find the triggers of this video, and you can also find loads of resources and links to get help or to deal with a loved one having an eating disorder. You deserve help. You are sick enough. You deserve help, and you deserve love. No matter what size you are, you can still be unhealthy, and you can still need some assistance, no matter how big or small you are, no matter who you are, whether you're a man, because men have eating disorders too. No matter your sex, your gender, your sexuality, your weight, your anything, you are worth the help. You are sick enough. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I make videos every single Monday and Wednesday on this channel. I also have a book channel which I post on every single Tuesday, and I will see you next week for a brand new video. 1, 4, 3. Bye.